What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Supes channel. My name is Matt Ramos, and on this channel I aim to entertain, inform, and inspire using the topic of discussion as always, which is movies, shows, stories. Y'all know the deal. We are fans of all of this stuff, and today I'm going to be talking about Kung Fu Panda 4, which is now out there. It's in theaters. You guys can go watch the film for yourselves, but today I'm going to be talking about just my review and overall thoughts of the film. I won't be spoiling anything, yeah, let's just get into it. So first off, I'd like to start my reviews by thanking the people that made this film in the first place. Because, you know, Hollywood is a vicious industry and it takes an army to get films made. It takes a miracle. And then making a great film is a separate miracle. So, I just want to thank everyone who made this film and brought it to life, because that is an accomplishment in it of itself. And with that being said, you know, us as fans, we also have an obligation to be honest, to critique these films, to point out the good, the bad, the ugly. So like that, you know, moving forward, we can just get an increase in quality over time and get better stories and better execution overall. Because if we just sit here and we just take everything that we're getting and we just praise, then, you know, there's never going to be room for improvement, because we got to be honest and vocal and come from a place of love, not from a place of hate. So with that being said, Kung Fu Panda 4 is my least favorite film in the franchise by far. I think it is a pretty huge dip in quality from the previous films. And, you know, considering Kung Fu Panda 3 came out 8 years ago, I am just baffled that this is the best that they came up with for Kung Fu Panda 4. At its core, Kung Fu Panda 4 just feels like it has so much missing. What made these movies so great wasn't just because they were about Po. It was because of the supporting cast of characters that all factored into the stories, and they were so great in their own respect. The Furious Five, Shifu, Po's dads, even Oogway had his moments. But when it comes to Kung Fu Panda 4, this is a film that completely abandons a lot of those supporting characters that made these films so special, in order to prioritize new characters that you don't care for nearly as much and aren't nearly as cool. You know, the Furious Five are not in this film. Shifu is barely in this movie. Oogway isn't in this film at all. And Po's dads are in the film, and they do have their own subplot. However, it feels like they have less impact on the story than ever before. Another thing we're really accustomed to seeing in the Kung Fu Panda franchise is great villains. Tai Lung, Shen, Kai, all of them are so great, but when it comes to the chameleon, she was a massive disappointment. This is just a very shallowly written villain. She's not really intimidating that much. And, you know, again, when you're coming from a place of all of these villains have been so great, you need to live up to that expectation. You need to live up to that standard of quality. And when it came to the chameleon, her motivations were just completely shallow. They didn't really make sense at all. And it just felt like they crafted a villain with the intention of bringing back the previous villains just to be able to market that and hopefully suck people back into theaters, because we've grown up loving a lot of these villains. And when they actually appear in the film, Shen and Kai are there. They don't have any lines, and I'm just baffled. I'm baffled. Tai Lung obviously has some lines of dialogue in this film, and outside of an introduction action sequence that is featured in the trailer, Tai Lung just feels so out of character. He's quipping, he's joking, and, you know, all of the villains just felt so out of character, and it felt like they got done dirty. And for a film that's the central theme of this film is change. It's a film and it's a journey about Po accepting change and passing on that mantle of the Dragon Warrior to someone else. But in a film that's tackling the theme of change, don't you think that could have been better explored with the idea of, you know, maybe Tai Lung getting a redemption, Tai Lung changing, especially since you're bringing Ian McShane back to voice Tai Lung and having him be, you know, play somewhat of a role in this film. The idea of exploring change could have been way better executed if it were explored through Tai Lung instead of new characters that we don't really know or can connect to. I will say that this film does have its fair share of action sequences, and the action in this film is pretty fire. Yeah, it is pretty fire. The action in this movie is pretty good. And it does have its fair share of action, but again, it just feels like there's so much missing from the supporting cast. The newer characters you don't really have that much time to connect with all of the new characters outside of Aquafina's Shen, however you pronounce her name. Because the film is essentially just centered on her and her relationship with Poe, and Poe, again, just kind of passing down that mantle. And, you know, that kind of leads into my next point, which is that this film is just very predictable. You know, from beginning to end, it's just, there was never any twists or turns that kind of caught me off guard, just because they lay the groundwork so obviously, and everything goes as you think it's gonna go. So look, Kung Fu Panda 4 does have its fair share of action, and the action in this film is really well done, but considering that Kung Fu Panda 4 is releasing 8 years after Kung Fu Panda 3, you know, this was just a massive letdown and a massive step down in terms of quality all around from those previous 3 films. If I saw Kung Fu Panda 4 and this was a brand new original IP, an original franchise, and its own standalone thing, I would tell you, all right, yeah, it's a pretty decent kids movie, you know? But because this is an installment in one of the greatest animated franchise of all time, there's a certain level of expectation. There is a standard of quality that needs to be met, and to me, this film just felt short of that standard of quality. So, do I think this film is still enjoyable? Yeah, I think it's still enjoyable. I think it's a decent, you know, animated kids movie, but again, it's not what we've come to expect in terms of quality from the Kung Fu Panda franchise. So with that being said, let me know in the comment section down below if you guys have seen Kung Fu Panda 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're still looking forward to Kung Fu Panda 4, I still recommend for you guys to all go watch your movies and form your own opinions, because hell, you guys might love this movie. So let me know in the comment section down below if you have seen the film, what are your thoughts? If you haven't seen the film, what are your thoughts on this review and the things I'm saying? With that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. I love you guys 3000. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification to get notified for future videos. And I'll see you guys next time.